What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Here we are with another reaction video. We got up front Dr. Shashi Tharoor stunned Mehdi Hasan on Al Jazeera. Now, before we can dive into this video, if you guys would like to support the channel by becoming a member, I'll be so appreciative. But also, you receive exclusive benefits that I know you guys would enjoy. But let's dive right into this video.
Your recent speech at the Oxford Union went viral online. Millions of people watched you make the argument for British reparations to India, for a British apology to India for its colonial rule there. Let's have a watch.
The ability to acknowledge a wrong that has been done, to simply say sorry, will go a far, far, far longer way than some percentage of GDP in the form of aid.
Powerful words there by you.
I think we actually got to watch that video, if I'm not mistaken. I think I got the chance to react to that. And I completely hear what he's saying in that video. I think the issue is that Britain don't actually think they did anything wrong. I think Britain actually, their listeners, because I react to a lot of UK videos, and so from their side, they actually feel like they helped India. And so I think that's why I don't think those guys will apologize, because I think they feel like they did India a favor, help India progress into the next century, and they don't realize what they did to India. You know what I'm saying? So in their eyes, they helped. In India's eyes, it's like you kind of destroyed our country. Like you came here, you pillaged, you looted, you stole from us. How do you figure you helped? And then UK's over here like, yeah, but we really gave y'all different technology and everything. With the Industrial Revolution, we helped progress your country. And so I think they're not going to get that apology from Britain just because from the standpoint they feel like they helped India, where India's like, no, like you obviously didn't help us. Like we would have been so much better off had colonization not hit us. So two countries just on completely different sides. So, all right, let's dive in, though, and listen to more.
Which won the day in that debate. Don't you worry, though, that one day, in the years to come, an independent Kashmir may ask India for similar reparations and a similar apology based on the same line of argument you advanced there, based on the fact that the Indian government, Indian armed forces, wraked violence, havoc, destruction in Jammu and Kashmir in recent decades?
I think purely on the specific economic argument that I talked about, how the British depredations deprived India economically, I think you will find that the contribution of the rest of India to the state of Kashmir economically vastly outstrips anything else. So the economic argument for reparations would never apply. Secondly, as far as the wrongs that have been committed in Kashmir, Indians have been the first to acknowledge them, to take action. As a democracy, we have tried.
Human rights groups do not agree with you at all on that. Amnesty publishes report after report saying soldiers in India have impunity in Kashmir. Impunity
there
is the word
that's used. There have been court-martials, jailings, convictions.
Military trials, no civilian trials of soldiers or police officers.
No, there have been civilian trials of police officers, absolutely. Yeah. There are policemen in jail today.
Amnesty International says to date, not a single member of the security forces deployed in Jammu and Kashmir over the past 25 years has been tried for human rights violation in a civilian court.
So I don't think I completely understand the issue of what happened with India, Jamir and Kashmir. Is that what he's saying, Jamir? I don't understand all the wrongs that happened over there, but I think Dr. Shashi Tharoor is saying like, no, like he believes that the contributions that India gave to Jamir and Kashmir extremely outweighs all the things that were done economically, from an economic standpoint. And like I said earlier, I think that UK feels the same way about India, but unlike the UK, he's saying Indians are the first to acknowledge all the wrongdoings that they've done over there. They're first, I guess, to be apologetic. But Mehdi Hasan is saying, like, I think they would absolutely disagree with you over that. It seems like the military has impunity, and I guess that's like they can't be. Basically, I can't think of the word we would call it over here in the West. Immunity. That he's saying they have immunity. Basically, they can. I assume that's what impunity kind of same lines. They can do whatever they want, and they won't be charged for it. They won't go to jail for it. They won't be punished for it. And Dr. Shashi Tharoor is like, no, they don't have that. There have been civilian trials. There are Indian soldiers in jail, and so I guess you're just hearing two different sides of an argument here. But let's continue. My bad.
Well,
June of this year.
They have been court-martialed, but it depends on how they define security forces. The police, who are the Jammu and Kashmir police, when they've been guilty of atrocities, they have been tried.
Well, how do we know about atrocities? More than 96% of all complaints brought against the army in Indian-administered Kashmir have been dismissed as false and baseless by the army. How convenient.
Well, the fact is that some of these complaints are probably indeed baseless. But the fact is that those complaints that had a basis have been taken up and taken.
So when people say there have been hundreds of cases of torture and deaths, thousands of cases of sexual assault, you're saying all of the soldiers and police officers involved in that have been prosecuted?
Well, I don't know that they've all been prosecuted. They have been exemplary prosecuted.
You were external affairs minister. But when you were in government, what did you do to hold Indian armed forces to account for the violence and chaos in Jammu and Kashmir?
I have informally had contacts with the Home Ministry about some of the concerns that were brought to me by human rights groups that I've been in touch with. But the fact is that this was not within my area of responsibility, and I cannot interfere in the work of other government departments. No minister can in any democratic system.
You talk about interference. When people say to you...
So this is... I feel like if y'all can help me out in the comment section, I'd love... for you guys to explain just everything that went on in Jammu and Kashmir and like all the wrongdoings that were done by Indian soldiers, and if these complaints are actually true or if they are baseless or what's going on here. Because I think when it comes to this issue, I'm kind of a little out of the loop. I'm not fully informed about everything in hearing this argument, but yeah, I'd love for you guys just to comment and talk to me.
You or any Indian politician, why not have a brokered peace deal in Kashmir between Pakistan and India? Why not let outsiders, the UN, the US, the EU, the good old Norwegians, come along and try and broker a peace deal to this seemingly never-ending conflict? You all say we don't want any outside interference.
That's right.
Why?
Well, first of all, I don't think we have any problem understanding each other, the Pakistanis and us. We don't need a third party.
You shouldn't have a problem meeting each other.
Well, as far as we're concerned, if terrorism were to stop, we can talk about everything. Don't forget there have been talks about Kashmir as recently as during the governments of Prime Minister Manmohan Singh and General Musharraf in Pakistan.
Given 68 years later, your two countries still can't sort this problem out on their own, why not have outside involvement? You clearly are not able to do it.
So Jammu and Kashmir are in Pakistan, in which, I mean, I feel like from the videos that I've seen, most Indians consider Pakistan to be a terrorist country, basically, where they let terrorism run rampant. And so I guess I'm assuming India probably has a different take on Jammu and Kashmir than Pakistan. And with Pakistan and India, it's hard to have outside interference due to there's going to be bias there. Like, especially for countries in the West, I feel like there is going to be bias. At the same time, there's going to be bias if within, I guess, somebody's going to feel cheated. No matter who you get to look at things and no matter what, somebody's going to feel cheated. Yeah, this is an issue I can't really give it a statement on, because I feel like I'm just not informed enough about the situation, and I just really don't want to say the wrong thing. So let's keep listening. I can give a statement on what these two guys are saying, because I'm just going to only go based off what they're saying. But let's just keep listening to what they have.
Fundamental problem in the India-Pakistan relationship is not Kashmir. It is the nature of the Pakistani state.
You think it's not Kashmir. Well, they say it is Kashmir.
Well, so why should I do something I don't believe in? I'm telling you it's not Kashmir. I'm telling you it's got to do.
So how does this end? How does this end, Shashi?
It only ends when Pakistan stops being the kind of state it is, where the military, to justify its disproportionate share of its own country's assets, budget, and GDP, foments hostility on both sides of its borders, both in India and in Afghanistan, to justify its disproportionate
we just
resources.
talked about the Indian Army's fomenting of hostilities. How many people, innocent people, have been killed in Kashmir and framed as militants?
Unfortunately, these tragedies have occurred because the Indian security forces have been deployed to protect against terrorism and militancy coming from the
Shashi,
Pakistan
you know and
side.
I know, in the 1980s, you were a UN diplomat, you weren't an Indian politician, you knew very well that the reason the Indian armed forces went into Kashmir was because of fraud in elections, because of people objecting to rule from Delhi and about election results. It didn't start with terrorism.
But the terrorism came very soon after those disputed elections. And when it came, the security forces come in. Look, these are young people who are fearing for their lives.
But the rest of the world is seeing two nuclear powers on the brink. Shouldn't we all be worried?
I hope not, because so far, despite so many flashpoints, it has never come to that. The Pakistanis seem to prefer a strategy, to use one of their own expressions, of bleeding India to death by 1,000 cuts. And India, in turn, has managed a strategy of resisting terror without resorting to war. But it has not been a happy situation, I think, for anyone
Many would say you've been
involved.
bleeding Kashmir with more than cuts.
I wouldn't say that, because I've been to Kashmir multiple times. I was married to a Kashmiri. My late wife was from a village which had been, in fact, attacked by terrorists. She lost her childhood home because of terrorist attacks. So there have been, the stories are far more complex than your question implies, Mehdi.
That was a kind of great debate between the two. And listening, I do feel like the situation is more complex than like the questioning implies as well, because I think you're going to get different stories from two different sides of the aisle. My first question to you guys is, Kashmir and Jammu technically in India, or is it in Pakistan? It kind of sounded like it was in Pakistan, but I just want to be sure on that. But then also, so what Shashi Tharoor is saying, there was terrorism activity already going on in Jammu and Kashmir, and so that's why the Indian army was deployed there in the first place. He said, so when Pakistan stops their activities, right, India and Pakistan can talk and discuss things, but until then, there's no discussion to be had. And I guess what Mehdi is saying is no. The reason the Indian army was deployed over there was due to fraud in elections. And so it wasn't due to terrorism. And then Shashi saying, well, the terrorism came soon after. And so I feel like I would need to be more informed on the subject. But listening to these two talk, I feel like this is kind of how debate should go, just from the perspective of neither of these men disrespected each other. Neither of these men started yelling or screaming or anything. They both and just see the situation differently. That's what it sounds like to me. They both see the situation differently, and two truths can be right at the same time. So two perspectives can be true at the same time is what I meant to say. But you guys, please let me know what you guys think in the comment section. I would love to hear from you. Also, if you enjoyed that, don't forget to subscribe, give the video a thumbs up. Check out the next video. It's your boy Neal, out.